Hey there, this is Mr. Claiborne again, and I'm having a conversation with a young man, and we're talking about why does it seem men do not like to receive relationship advice. And so the question, that was pretty much the question. And so I decided I wanted to make a video or comment on this subject because from my research and from dealing with people in their relationships, I've learned that most men hate to receive relationship advice. And so the response that this young man, who you're about to hear from in a moment, the response that this young man gave was, men don't like to receive relationship advice because they want to do things their own way. So I want to have him to elaborate on that a little bit. So please, go ahead, explain.
So I think men only take advice from other men, whether if it's their brother, uncle, nephew, best friend. If a female tries to give a male advice, I guarantee they won't listen to it. And women only take advice from females.
But that's foolish because somebody can have much more experience than you have in life and love relationships. And so with that experience, you may be able to learn something if you listen to them. And like I said a moment ago, one of the main reasons why relationships fail is because people don't want to listen. And so if you have a guy who's trying to do things his own way in a relationship, the relationship is bound to fail because he's not willing to listen to what his wife, girlfriend, or partner is trying to tell him. You got to be willing to listen. And listening is a key part of communicating.
Yeah, communication is a big part of a relationship.
Communication is giving and receiving of information.
But it's just the way I look at it is that, okay, so if me and Phil talking, and if he's having a relationship problem, I'm like, oh Phil, this is what you should do so you and your wife will be on good terms. And Phil said, in the back of his head, you don't tell me what to do. I know how to please my woman. I know what she likes. I know what she don't like. He's not gonna listen to me. Correct or incorrect?
I don't listen to you.
That's not necessarily correct because if what you're saying makes even the tiniest amount of sense to him, he'll consider it.
Okay.
He may not act on it, but he'll at least consider it. But if she does something to remind him of what you said, there's a very high chance that he will do what you suggested.
Men are stubborn.
Men are stubborn, but women are stubborn also.
But yeah, but they're more emotional. Guys react off of
Logic. We're logical.
No, we're logical, but at the same time, like I'm looking for the word. I just can't think of the word. Like you do things because it looks cool, maybe. So maybe he doesn't want to be like the emotional, sentimental type dude because to his boy, that's lame. Like, you get what I'm saying?
But the thing, I do get
so,
what
like,
you're
me
saying,
opening up
but
my feelings.
when you're talking about your relationship with your partner, it's not between you, your boys, and your partner. It's between you and your partner. So you, at some point, when you're interacting with your partner, you are going to have to become emotional.
You will. But this generation, their perspective of love is totally different from your generation.
Okay, just to clarify a bit, the young man I'm talking to is in his 20s. He's 19. Okay, so the comment he just made about the difference in the love between the generations is because of his age versus mine. All right, but that's to get back to the discussion. That comment, that's bull. No, that's bull. And the reason why is because the feelings that are exchanged, emotional feelings that are exchanged in a relationship, they haven't changed. Those feelings are the same.
How many young dudes do you know that?
Do you agree with that? That those feelings haven't, when you're in a relationship with someone, the feelings haven't changed over the years. It's still gonna feel like a connection. It's still gonna feel like you and this person are working well together to build a life, and because you agree upon so many things, there's a level of happiness there that you can't find with just anybody. those feelings have never changed over the centuries that people have been in relationships. I mean, healthy relationships. They haven't changed.
Not all relationships nowadays are healthy though.
But we're talking about relationships, healthy or unhealthy. The fact is, you have to listen
Yeah.
when you're in the relationship. So then that is, if that's the reason why guys don't want to get relationship advice, that's a huge problem.
Relationship advice?
Absolutely.
So if you were going through something and I gave you an advice, would you take it?
I would definitely consider it, and if it makes sense to me, yes, I'm going to use it.
Okay, so then ask yourself this. If a younger person, like now, what are you, like probably like a 20, 15 age difference between me and you?
Yeah.
Okay. Me being so young, I gave you advice, so you would actually take a younger person's advice?
Yes, if it makes sense to me in regards to the situation I'm in with my mate. I absolutely would. Why wouldn't I?
Because you got
That's
some,
like, no,
you got some people that don't want to take advice from a young person because they don't know what they're doing.
And you're right, but
Or
you
'cause
know
they
the
haven't
thing
experienced
is,
everything.
but the thing is, if somebody tells you and I'm just gonna give an analogy here. If you're talking to a mechanic, right, car mechanic, and this guy's been working on cars for 20 years, and then this young buck walks in the room and he's only been working on cars for like 2 years, but what the young guy says makes more sense to you than what the older guy says, who are you gonna listen to?
I was about to say it depends on
No, it doesn't depend on the situation because you drive your car. So if the young guy comes in and says, "Nah, man, I think it's your I don't know, your rotors for your brakes. I think that's really
And
what's
then the guy
causing
says,
your
"I think it's your
But the
muffler."
older guy's like, "Nah, yeah, it might be your muffler." And you're like, "No, when I put my foot on the brake, my car does kind of pull to one side. Maybe it is the brakes. Maybe it is the rotor versus the muffler." Which the old guy said. You're gonna consider what the young dude said, and you're gonna be like, "Damn, you know what? That makes sense. I'm gonna go get my brakes checked, go get my rotors checked."
He's right. Listen to young people, not old people.
It's not a matter of age or it's not a matter of age.
You gotta take both
It's,
into consideration.
That's
That's
what
all.
I do. I take everybody's in consideration.
and you should, but you're going to use the bit of information that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Soak it like a sponge. Everything you learn and live and learn.
Because that just happened to me with my car. Like this older guy was trying to tell me he think it's this, but with newer cars, they got all this electronic device stuff with cars. He's older. He's not used to working on newer model cars, so he don't know it could be all these other different things.
That's right.
So then let me ask you this. If you were talking to a younger person who's never been in a relationship at all, but he's just giving you advice, would you take it versus somebody who's been in a relationship?
Again, if it makes sense and it's applicable, you're going to use it. It doesn't matter if that person has been in a relationship or not. So then at some point as a man, you have to drop your ego and just say, well, damn, what that person just said makes sense. Maybe I should go home and iron her clothes for her before she gets, before it's time for her to go to work. Maybe I should, make some breakfast for her so she won't have to do it herself. Little things like, I'm just saying, little bits of advice could come, little bits of good advice could come from anybody, experienced or inexperienced. But whether or not you use them depends on whether you are willing to drop your manly ego. But in the end, women are like that too. Like you did make a good point. You have a lot of women who they just refuse to take advice from anybody about relationships because they think they know every damn thing. But then a lot of those women are miserable. They want to be in a relationship, but they don't know how to keep one. Well, maybe if you try listening to somebody sometimes, you'd be able to keep a good relationship.
Stop taking advice from other girls. That's good. That's a good.
Well, no, it's not about not taking advice because they might actually give some good advice.
A lot of them have ill will.
Yeah, you do have people who have ill intentions, but then again, it's up to you on whether or not you use that information.
You can't go to everybody for advice, because sometimes they don't really want to give advice. They just want to know your business too.
And then that will go back to you deciding whether or not that information is useful. Okay, so we're gonna end it right.